I got the, what is it, field goals pulled up here.
I
And
have the same thing pulled up.
do you have the free agency tracker thing pulled up?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty useful. I mean, it has like everything we need to talk about right here in like a little list.
Yeah,
So,
I love field goals, and it's basically just run by Seahawks mega fans like us. So it's not even like, you know, the deep state ESPN reporters or whatever.
honestly, we could probably just make a website for JR takes and do the same shit.
We
But
should. Yeah,
uh,
maybe a season 4 goal.
yeah. But yeah, I guess we'll just what we we talked about the whole Sam Darnold thing last episode. But we did recently sign DeMarcus Lawrence. We haven't really talked about that. You and I personally, and then we got Marquez Valdez Scantling. I don't know if we had Josh Jones last
I
episode.
I don't think we had signed him just yet by the last
Um,
podcast.
and then I don't know if you keep hearing the name, was it Tevin Jenkins from the Bears?
Yeah, he's coming to visit on Monday, I believe. So, I mean, he is a starting guard, probably better than any guard on our team. I think at this point, he's probably the best of the rest as far as scheme fit is concerned. I kind of think it's a must sign at this point. Just so, I mean, honestly, when it comes to the offensive line, I just don't want to have to go into the draft with the mindset of, oh, we have to take an offensive lineman with our first 3 picks because that gives you no flexibility. And I mean, that's how you get like, I don't know, a Fetty in people like that in the past. So
Have we ever done that? Taken like three linemen in a row with our top three
I
picks?
I don't think so. And I don't think we will even if we don't sign Jenkins. That would be really unusual, but it would put us in a place where I'd kind of be like, okay, we have to do this because we have no starting caliber interior offensive line. But we'll see.
Right.
We did just draft over the last 2 years. We drafted like 5 offensive linemen. So, and then before that, we drafted our starting tackles. So it's not like we haven't been attacking the position in the draft. They just haven't developed all that well outside of the tackles. So who knows? Maybe a new O line coach can get our guys that we currently have to be better. But either way, you at least want to bring in some veteran leadership, I think, and also just some competition. But I guess staying with the O line, Josh Jones, it's kind of like nearly a veteran minimum contract, but I think what he's going to be, from everything I'm hearing, is kind of like our George Fant swing tackle replacement. He's
Hmm.
got flexibility to play basically everything but center, I think. Which, in a pinch, I mean, Lucas's health is always a question mark, and really anyone's health on the O line is subject to being poor at any point in the season. So it's good to have someone like that. Ideally, he's basically would play 50 to 100 snaps next year, mostly a tight end, but we'll see. I mean, you never know what happens with the season. But yeah, what do you think of Josh Jones?
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't a starter where he was, correct? That
Um,
wasn't like
he's
he's not a
started,
starting player.
he
He's like
has
a
started, I think, like 20 to 40 games in his career, but he hasn't been very good when he did start. And he's already played the role of swing tackle in his career. So he's
I
kind of
mean, I
like
like
your,
that. I like the fact that he
hmm,
can play swing tackle, and I just like you were saying, it's like can never have enough offensive linemen, and it's something we're gonna have to address in the draft. But I mean, I wouldn't feel great if like we're gonna go with him as a starting player on week one of next season.
yeah, that would not be good. That would be like worst case scenario, I
That'd be like
think.
what the Mariners did this offseason. Just nothing. And then be like,
Yeah.
yeah, this is our starter. Or like,
So yeah, I guess I don't really have too much to say about Josh Jones. I don't know all that much about him. He was on the Ravens last year, I believe, which I kind of like that because they were a really good team last year. They were very close to the AFC Championship.
And they've always
So
had a good line. If you're not starting on their line, who's to say you wouldn't start on our line? Because our line sucked.
yeah, I think just about every one of their linemen would start on our team more than likely, outside of like replacing Charles Cross. But next up on our free agent additions, I believe was Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and when I saw that move come through, I was like, huh? Like that's our DK replacement. But the more I thought about it, I actually really like the move because we're not bringing him in here to be our wide receiver one or wide receiver two. Maybe not even wide receiver three, depending on what we do in the draft and a little guy named Cooper Kupp that we're evidently very interested in from reports I'm seeing.
Hmm.
But Marquez Valdez-Scantling has like one of the highest, I think currently of all active players, he is the highest yards per reception figure. He averages like almost 20 yards a catch. So he is a big play threat, and that's exactly what he was for Gary Kubiak like 3 months ago. And he was producing with the likes of Derek Carr, who you know how I feel about him, and the Rattlesnake. So
Yeah,
he
I
immediately
actually
knows the system we're running, and he'll be that speed option that we didn't have prior to signing him. But go ahead.
I was kind of stoked we signed him because I had to pick him up in fantasy in one of my leagues, like in like week 8. And he
Mm.
actually like kind of saved my ass because he had a bunch of good games down the stretch where I think there was one game where he caught like 2 or 3 touchdowns or something. And
Yeah, he had a game where I think he caught like a 70 plus yard touchdown and just burned everybody. So even though he's 30, he's still got that speed and it's something we'll need. And he's already coming in knowing at least 90% of what Kubiak is trying to install here because he was his offensive coordinator in New Orleans. So I think it's a really smart move. He wasn't someone I was really thinking about as an option at all, but I think it makes a lot of sense. And on top of all that, it's worth his contract is a 1 year deal worth up to 5.5 million. So it's probably more like a $3 million contract, which is like, I mean, nothing for someone that's played in the NFL for 7 years. So I that move has grown on me a lot. And then our next move, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even know this guy was an option. I didn't know he was a free agent, and I certainly didn't think that he would sign with us after playing 10 years in Dallas. DeMarcus Lawrence. That to me is like one of the craziest moves we've made in a long time because I know he had an injury last season, but it was just a broken bone in his foot, and it was at the
hmm
beginning of the season, so he'll probably be ready for training camp. And this guy, even if he's lost some speed as a pass rusher, he was just the best run defender at edge in the league like a year ago. So when you have him on early downs with Uchenna and the guys we have on the interior D line, it's going to be like impossible to run on the Seahawks next season. And that's like the biggest thing I've wanted out of this defense really for years. So I'm absolutely floored that we made that move. What'd you think?
I was really stoked. And I don't know if you saw the interview he had where he was like, "Yeah, I just came here because I know I can't win a Super Bowl in Dallas."
Yeah, honestly, I am already like a huge DeMarcus Lawrence fan because he's kind of like I don't know if you saw Micah Parsons like call him out on Twitter, like
No, I
because
didn't see that.
the Cowboys fans, players alike are pissed that he made this move, and they're all like burning bridges with him, and they're so mad because he was like one of the top voices in their locker room for a long time.
Well, I didn't
So
know he's from there too. So,
yeah. So I don't know, just kind of the fact that he chose to come here to like get the fuck out of Dallas and is like, yeah, no, you guys don't want to win, so fuck you. I'm gonna go to Seattle. Like I'm already a huge fan. I love it, and I love that the Cowboys fans are really mad and upset about it.
yeah, it's got to feel good too to have someone leave somewhere and come here thinking this is a place where like we don't put up with that. Like we
Hmm.
want to win and only that. And yeah, it doesn't seem like it's kind of validating. I feel like every NFL fans like perception on what the Cowboys are because it doesn't seem like they're trying to win, and him saying that I think validates that.
Yeah, I saw this video of CeeDee Lamb reacting to the news, and he was just like, "Oh man," like he was so sad. So like the more reactions, because at first I was generally like, "What the fuck?" Like how did that happen? Like, how did we get to Marcus Lawrence? Uh, and then just to kind of see Cowboy World reacting to it, being so upset, I'm like, I think this is a good move. I think we're gonna really like this guy. And also, we were just saying on Monday, I mean, we need a number one edge rusher. And if I mean, Demarcus Lawrence is like 32. He's not super young, but that's for an edge rusher. I mean, Julius Peppers played till he was like 40 and was still producing. So you do see guys playing a long time into, their mid 30s and whatnot at the edge position. And if he can find that level of productivity he had not that long ago, we might have just signed our number one edge rusher. And also we gave him a contract that's like I think only like 18 million guaranteed or so. So it's really incentive laden. So if it doesn't work out, like, yeah, there was a significant financial commitment to it. But I think it's the kind of swing you want to make us take when we have 80 million of cap space heading into the first week of free agency. So I
Yeah,
like it a lot.
the edge rushing position kind of reminds me of like a pitcher in baseball because if you keep an edge rusher like on a rotation, they're just going to be able to play late into their career at a high level because they're not
Mm.
overworking their body. And
That's a
it's
really good
almost
analogy.
like a skill. Well, it's almost like the skill set of being a edge rusher is like the same as being a pitcher almost,
Mm.
I would say.
Yeah, I never would have like thought of that comparison, but that definitely makes a lot of sense. And it's a key part to like keeping your pitchers or edge rushers like productive is not overplaying them. And
Right.
also just the fact that we essentially swapped out Draymond Jones, who was a bad run defender, for DeMarcus Lawrence, who's like the best run defending edge in the league for about the same money, maybe even less. That is awesome. That's a great move right there.
Yeah, what did you think about because I guess that's kind of all of the acquisitions there, the Lawrence, Scantling, and Josh Jones. What did you
Hmm.
think about Trey Brown signing with the Niners?
I don't like it because Trey Brown, I think, has a pretty high ceiling as a player. Like when he when he's done good things in the league, he's really made some wow plays. And the last thing I want to see is him go to our hated division rival and become like a top corner for them. But also like he's had a lot of health problems in his career, so it remains to be seen whether that's even gonna happen. But yeah, that I guess out of all the guys we've lost, because I don't know, we lost Lake and Tomlinson and Stone Forsythe. I don't think anyone's going to be upset about that. I mean, shout out to those guys for doing their best with us, but that's about the best I can say. Trey Brown was the first one where I was like, oh man, it would have been nice to hang on to him. But there's some good corners in this draft. I think we take some mid to late round flyers on some depth. Not that we need a starter, but um,
Hmm.
that Trey Brown played a lot of football for us.
Right. Yeah, I guess let's see. Rodgers still hasn't signed with any team. That's pretty crazy. I
Yeah,
guess.
he's gonna he's just gonna like hold all these teams hostage as long as he can to be a dick because that's
But
what he
like
likes to do.
how? Why does any
I
I
don't
guess
know, man.
he did kind of end like realistically, he did kind of end his season last year like on a good note. Like he was playing better. And he was coming off that Achilles like who knows? He could have a comeback season next year, but
Well, I mean, I
or he
think
could just be done. Like
yeah, both options are possible, but I think even this version of Rodgers is still like I you can't get 31, 32 quarterbacks in the world that are better than even this version of Rodgers, just being honest. But that doesn't necessarily mean that this is a guy you need to like sell the farm for by any means. Like like this very diminished version of Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers. It's funny. I feel like their careers, even though Wilson started playing 7 years after Rodgers, they've had a lot of like parallels. Like they kind of peaked during the same period, and now they're kind of entering their washed journeyman period of their career at the same time. And I've seen so many memes about like the Steelers being like the illusion of choice, and then it's like Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, 9-8. And it's kind of true. I don't know.
It is ironic that like they're now like the two quarterbacks that the Steelers have to pick between when they like battled each other so many like in the so many times in the early 2010s.
Yeah, they even just played each other in prime time last season, and Wilson came on top. I think their career record against each other too is like dead even or something like that. So they were definitely kind of rivals for a minute there.
I would have guessed that Russ would have had more wins, but I guess we never won in Lambeau.
Yeah, the
So
last few
that
times
makes
we played
sense.
Rodgers was in Green Bay, and we are incapable of winning there, no matter who their quarterback is. But yeah, I think if anything, it's like dead even, or Wilson has like one more win on Rodgers or something. But this is kind of like their maybe their last battle, who gets to be the Steelers quarterback. But speaking of Wilson, he was visiting the Browns yesterday,
I
so he
saw that.
might he might have another chance to ruin Kenny Pickett's starting prospects, which is hilarious to me.
That's
Um,
so. I hope he signs with them and then starts.
I will say it'd be a sad way to see his career end playing for the fucking Browns, just because that dude, that'd be so ugly. Like the aesthetics of Wilson in a Browns jersey,
The
like
Browns
getting
just need to
back.
change their whole. They just need to start over.
They do, and but the thing is, like the Browns still have like Miles Garrett and so many good players. Like I could see them with Wilson winning like 9 or 10 games and just having a disgusting
Oh, no,
season.
no, I was referring to their like their uniform scheme. They need to start over. They need to
I
try again.
I think all of the above.
At
Yeah,
their
like
their logo.
change their name, change their city, like
Your logo isn't your helmet. That's your helmet. Come up with something else to be your goddamn logo.
and then they have that like little elf guy sometimes. Like who the fuck is that? What does he do? What
I
is he?
actually know the lore behind that. They said
Why?
it during they said it during a Browns game. He's an elf that comes out on Sundays to help you do chores around the house so you can watch like in time to watch the Browns play.
Well, that elf is
I'm
not
just
helping anyone
I'm
because
just telling you
nobody
what
should watch the Browns play.
I'm just telling you what they told me.
All right, fair enough, fair enough. Did you see any of Sam Darnold's introductory press conference at all?
Barely. I watched little snippets on Instagram from it, from the Seahawks Instagram.
Just see him rocking the Northwest flannel.
I did. Because he's actually from Southern
LA, I think.
California.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my stepdad, his wife, I guess she like is friend or their daughter went to high school with Sam, and so they like
Mhm.
kind of know. They just really like Sam Darnold, so I'm sure that they're stoked about that. But yeah, it was cool seeing him already rocking the Northwest look already.
Yeah, it's funny how like the second someone becomes your guy as a sports fan, like you just sort of find yourself cozying up to them a little bit because like like I was a big Geno guy, but I mean he's gone, and he evidently I listened to a press conference with John, and it sounds like DK and Geno just didn't want to be here. So honestly, like thanks for everything, both of those players, but if you don't want to be here, like all right, leave. Like what can we do?
Right.
So just the fact that Sam is like so stoked to be here and is like so excited to like be the guy for us. It's cool to see. I really hope it works out. It remains to be seen how it works out, but it was a good first impression, I thought.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I know what you mean. It's like I was not the I mean, I like Sam Darnold, but like when we signed him, there was something in the back of my mind. thinking like, are we just remaining in NFL purgatory of 10 wins with this Sam Darnold signing? But after like seeing him in the press conference and just hearing him say like, "Oh, it's pretty awesome to finally have the 12s on my side" and stuff like that. I
Mhm.
was just like, "Oh, yeah, this is actually pretty cool." Like I'm warming up to this guy already and I'm already rooting for him. So,
Yeah, and I went back and watched our game against the Vikings last year just as like a refresher. I forgot how good of a game that was, by the way. That was a wild battle.
yeah.
But Sammy played like maybe the best game of his career against us. And that's when our defense was playing pretty hot too. Like he was making some tight window throws. He was showing pretty good mobility. And obviously, the deep bomb under pressure rolling to his left to JJ to win the game was
Who could forget?
that's probably the biggest moment of his career. And he actually someone asked him about that in the press conference and he was like, "Oh man, I can talk to you about that play for like an hour." So like, it's kind of funny how in the moment that play like ripped my heart out, but now I look back at it as like, that's kind of a hopefully an indicator of things to come.
Yeah, no kidding. Um, I don't really have a whole lot else to say on free agency. Um, let's
Yeah,
see
that's kind
around.
of kind of the wrap up of all. Well, okay, this just came in. We re-signed Cody White, who famously had a really good game against the Rams last year. We still lost, but he had a good game. Sure, good depth, probably a practice squad guy, ideally, but he's got a lot of experience with us, so I like that move.
Oh, the Cowboys are signing Miles Sanders.
Oh man, now they're gonna make it back to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Yeah, they signed Miles Sanders and who was they signed another like washed running back. Who was it?
No, they signed Javonte Williams, he's
Oh,
going
okay.
to have a breakout and revive his career. And
Yeah, we'll see.
he's gonna rush for 2,000 yards.
You're insane. He's gonna have like a Saquon season.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Eagles signed AJ Dillon too, which is like they gotta have the highest squat totals of any RB room
I
now with
know,
those two
because
guys.
his thighs might be bigger than Saquon's, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, the tush push with them and Jalen is fucked up.
Also, the Colts quarterback room is so hilarious.
I
I
saw
would
this post that was like, I think the Colts gave Anthony Richardson a completely reasonable challenge. Either you defeat Daniel Jones or you're done.
That's a very fair proposal.
Yeah, but
It's
I mean, like, I feel like year three in the NFL, if you can't defeat Daniel Jones, like, you're out of here, Sonny. I don't know what to tell you.
I know, it's like Daniel Jones is like the bar and you just have to be not lower than that and you'll be
Yeah, he's almost like the new Ryan Fitzpatrick, but not likable.
fine. All right. Well, we're running out of time here, but that's pretty much all I got.
Yeah, same here. I'm hoping I mean, it sounds like we're gonna find out what Cooper Kupp does today, no matter what. It's not something that I'm like, oh, we have to sign him, but it'd be really interesting if we sign Cooper Kupp because him, MVS, JSN, and Bobo, that's already like a decent receiver core. But I think if they take a rookie in the first three rounds, like we might be building right back to where we were at that position group as far as production is concerned. So yeah, that's gonna be a fun one to watch.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind if we signed Cup to a 1 year deal. I guess I just don't. I'm wondering what the money range is that other teams are offering him.
Yeah, and I feel like some dumbass team will be like, "We'll give you $20 million or something." Like,
I
I
know,
don't know.
like the fucking like Titans or something.
If you go on the Titans, you're about to have the biggest washed run of your career and then be done. That's like They're even worse than the Seahawks, where they get these good players that are like 34 and just go 6-11 and suck.
All right. Well, that's all I got for this one.
Yep, sounds good. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for listening, and yeah, fun things ahead.
Yes. Thanks for stopping by, guys. We'll catch you on the next one.
Later.